Welcome to the Madison Order Podcast Special Edition Show 2024 NFL Draft Preview and Predictions. We'll do team needs, best fits, some betting stuff, and a bold prediction for each team. We'll do team needs first. Arizona, wide receiver, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive end, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. Atlanta, defensive end, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Baltimore, offensive tackle, edge rush, corner. Buffalo, wide receiver, interior offensive line, defensive line, safety. Cincinnati, running back, wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive line, edge rush, safety. Carolina, they have a ton of needs, as we know. Wide receiver, you can make a case tight end. Interior offensive line. Edge rush from a depth standpoint. Defensive line. Maybe even linebacker from a depth standpoint. Cornerback. Chicago. Quarterback, obviously. Wide receiver. Interior offensive line. You could even argue a tackle as well. Defensive line, edge rush. You could argue corner and safety from a depth standpoint. Cleveland, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive line, linebacker. Dallas, running back. You can make a case wide receiver. With Gallup gone. Offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive line, linebacker from a depth standpoint, corner, and even safety from a depth standpoint as well. So the Cowboys have more holes than you would think. Denver, quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive line, edge rush, linebacker, corner, safety. They have about as anybody the most holes on a team I've seen. Detroit, they're pretty set. Maybe wide receiver depth. Maybe interior line depth. They're set at the tackles. Definitely defensive line, edge rush, linebacker. They need all the defensive positions possible. Corner, safety. They need to focus on defense in the draft as the Detroit Lions. The Green Bay Packers. They're interesting. Definitely offensive line, especially at the tackles with David Bakhtiari gone. You could argue interior from a depth standpoint. They're set on the defensive front. Their defensive front's really good. I mean, maybe some linebacker depth would be good for them. And obviously they have a need at corner with Jair Alexander's situation a little flux. And then safety they could use as well. Houston, interior offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Indy, wide receiver, tight end, interior offensive line, edge rush, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Jacksonville, wide receiver, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, linebacker, cornerback, safety. KC, wide receiver, offensive tackle, edge rush, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Vegas, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, edge rush, linebacker, cornerback. Chargers, wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive line, edge rush, linebacker, corner, safety. So they have needs pretty much everywhere. And you could argue even running back from a depth standpoint. They have a ton of holes. The Chargers. The Rams. They are a little short, and they obviously have their first round pick for the first time in a very long time. Their needs, running back from a depth standpoint, wide receiver from a depth standpoint, you can make a case. Maybe they're a dark horse Brock Bowers team. We'll see. See, maybe if it's a Brock Bowers situation, then you might have to go for it. Definitely offensive tackle and interior line as well. They definitely need defensive line help. No more Aaron Donald. Edge rush as well. Linebacker. They need help all over their defense. Depth at the secondary as well is necessary, especially at safety. And I keep forgetting that they picked up Trey White from Buffalo. Next is Miami. Interior offensive line, offensive tackle, defensive line, edge rush, linebacker, cornerback. Minnesota. Oh, they have needs everywhere. Their biggest needs, obviously, quarterback. Duh. Maybe depth at receiver. Their offensive line, the tackles are good, but maybe at the interior, specifically at the guard position. Definitely edge rush and defensive line. Linebacker too, and I think they could use a corner. Minnesota. New England. Quarterback, duh. Wide receiver. Offensive tackle. Interior offensive line. Edge rush. Linebackers. Safety. New Orleans. They obviously need a ton of help at the tackle position. Definitely receiver. They can upgrade a tight end. Maybe they're a dark horse Bowers team. And on defense, you could argue defensive line for them. They're set at linebacker. And maybe some depth at the secondary, specifically safety. Giants, oof. Quarterback of the future, and arguably quarterback of the now. Depth at running back, they have holes all over their roster. As we know, the year they made the postseason with Jones was one of the biggest flukes ever. Wide receiver, absolutely could use there. Definitely a tackle. Interior, maybe at the guard spot, the left guard in particular. But maybe they don't have to look at guard, but specifically tackle, maybe move Evan Neal to guard. But their edge rush is like the one area that's a strength. Their pass rush is really good. That's like the one good thing about the Giants. So they don't need help there. Cornerback they can look at, and even safety from a depth standpoint. So they're under a ton of pressure, obviously, tomorrow. Jets, wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, safety. Philadelphia, there's talks about them trading up. That'd be crazy. So where could they use help? Maybe looking at tackle for the future. Lane Johnson's getting old. Maybe depth at the interior. Edge rush, arguably. They could use some help. Linebacker from a depth standpoint, I would say cornerback and even safety too for Philadelphia. Their defense needs some umph. Pittsburgh, wide receiver, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, cornerback, safety. San Francisco. you can make a case wide receiver because of the Brandon Ayuk situation. Offensive tackle, interior could use some depth. Their pass rush is pretty good. I don't think they need help there. But they could absolutely use help at corner and at safety as well. Next up on the docket, Seattle. Quarterback of the future. And obviously I think the Giants need it more so than Seattle. But if Geno Smith's awful next year, then they're going to be in the market for a quarterback. But I think there might be a sneaky quarterback team this draft, potentially. So they're set at receiver and at running back. Tight end, they're good. They need help on the line, both at tackle and in the inside. They need help all over their defense. Definitely on the edge. Linebacker, they need help. Definitely corner and safety too. Next up, Tampa. So you could talk me into wide receiver because Godwin's a free agent next year. They can upgrade at tight end. I think the interior of their offensive line needs to be upgraded. Definitely pass rush that on the edges. Linebacker. Antoine Winfield is on the tag, so you could talk me into safety for them and even corner. Tennessee. Tight end, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, defensive line, edge rush, linebacker, safety. And last but not least, the Washington Commanders. They obviously need a quarterback. They're going to take one tomorrow night. Wide receiver, they could use some help. Tackle, interior line. Edge rush absolutely could use some help. Maybe linebacker from a long-term standpoint. And obviously the secondary is a mess in DC, so they need help there. All right, so we did team needs. Best fits. So I'm gonna do my top 25 in terms of best fits on my player rankings for the draft. Caleb Williams, obviously the Bears. That's who's going to take him tomorrow night. But theoretically, I think the Patriots would be a really good fit. They need a franchise quarterback. Broncos with Sean Payton would be a good fit. Marvin Harrison Jr., his best fit's Arizona. That's where I see him being drafted. Maybe Chargers with Justin Herbert would be good. The Patriots and the Giants should probably be looking at quarterbacks. But if the big three, say if you're the Giants and the big three are already off the board, then you take a receiver. I'm not the biggest J.J. McCarthy fan, as you guys know, although I think he's probably going to be taken in the top 5. Drake May, I think the Giants are a really good fit for Drake May. I think Drake May kind of fits like what the Giants want in a franchise quarterback. Very traditional, well-liked person. Feels like a very Giantsy to me, and I think New England's a good fit for him as well. Jaden Daniels, I think Washington's a good fit because Washington kind of likes the high upside plays. I also think Vegas would be a good fit for Jaden Daniels. Brock Bowers, I think the best fit's obviously the Chargers, and then the other one, the Jets. Malik Neighbors, I think he would fit really well on the Giants if they were to go that route. I think Chargers be a good fit. Arizona, Bears. Joe Alt, Tennessee's obviously the best fit. Chargers are a good fit. I'd be surprised if he was drafted anywhere else, honestly. Rome Odunze, obviously Chicago is a good fit. Maybe Giants if they trade back or stay at 6. Maybe Tennessee is like a dark horse for him. Alo Fashanu of Penn State. I think the Saints and the Jets are both really good fits. So are the Chargers, so is Tennessee. Terrion Arnold, the corner out of Atlanta. I think the Bears are an interesting fit from a depth standpoint, but they won't go there. I think that Arnold would fit really good on the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Titans would be a good fit. Not that they would take him at 7. Maybe that's a trade down. The Jaguars, obviously. Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. I think that the Raiders would be a good fit for him. Even Denver, if they were to go that way. Tennessee, Chargers. Dallas Turner. I like the Bears for him a lot. That would be a good fit. I think the Raiders would be a good fit. J.C. Latham. I think the Saints and the Jets are good fits for him as well. Chargers. Eagles, if that's a trade-up possibility. Maybe the Steelers, if they luck out and they get him at 20 or they trade up. Laiatu Latu out of UCLA. I think the Vikings are a really good fit if they were to keep the 23rd pick. I think that the Seahawks are a really good fit as well. Jared Verse out of Florida State. I think those two teams I just mentioned for Latu are good fits. I think Atlanta's a good fit for him and Latu as well. I think the Saints might be a sneaky contender for both those guys, and I think Latu would fit really good on the Rams as would Verse. Troy Fatano best fits Seattle. I think that the Dolphins are a good fit too, as does Pittsburgh. Amarius Mims just screams Steelers to me. Maybe the Cowboys luck out and he falls to that. Maybe he goes to Philly. Cooper DeJuan. I think that Jacksonville's a good fit for him, so is Philadelphia. Minnesota, if they were to keep the pick. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I think, would fit really good with the Packers. That just feels like a Packers guy to me. Kool-Aid McKinstry, maybe Arizona at 27. Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, I think that's a Lions type of player. Byron Murphy, his best fit's the Cincinnati Bengals. They lost DJ Reader, although he'd fit on Miami too, but I don't think he'd fall in Miami. Brian Thomas out of LSU, I think the Jaguars are a good fit. I think the Bills are a good fit. Adonai Mitchell, I think the Chiefs and the Bills are good fits. J.J. McCarthy, he just fits the Vikings. That just, to me, screams J.J. McCarthy. And I think that the Broncos and the Raiders are both good fits for him as well. And Michael Penix Jr., I think those two teams I just mentioned, I think the Giants are an interesting fit for Michael Penix. And I think that another interesting fit for Penix would potentially be, if there's like some random dark horse, might be Seattle, or even I saw him locked to Atlanta, which would be absurd. But we'll see about Penix and where he ultimately lands. All right, some betting stuff. This is always my favorite part of the draft podcast, to go over all the betting stuff for the draft. So Caleb Williams is minus 20,000 to go first overall. That's a lock. Jaden Daniels is now over 10-1 as a favorite to go second. Drake May's plus 650, so it looks like Jaden Daniels is going second. Number 3 overall, Drake May's minus 230, so it looks like he's going third. But the question is it New England or is it the Giants or Minnesota? J.J. McCarthy's plus 185, so that's interesting. That's something to watch. Fourth, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a minus 430 favorite. J.J. has some value at plus 650. Fifth overall, Malik Neighbors is the favorite at plus 230. J.J. McCarthy's 5-1. Marvin Harrison Jr. is plus 750. That has really good value as well. 6, Malik Neighbors is also favored, plus 170. Rome Odunze 3-1. Joe Alt's 5-1. I mean, the reason why Joe Alt is sitting there at 5-1, that's a trade possibility. JJ's plus 550. Joe Alt's the big minus 195 favorite to go 7th. This is where I want to bet at the 7th spot. Because I can see like a Titans trade down, somebody moves up to get somebody. So Rome Odunze is plus 650. JC Latham's 5-1. That's interesting. Olu Fashanu's 26-1. Malik Neighbors is 11, but I don't think that's going to happen. To me, the value pick might be Brock Bowers at 33-1. What if somebody tries to trade up to get him, or maybe Tennessee outright takes him? So I think that has some value, 33-1 for that. Dallas Turner's favorite to go 8th at plus 170. Byron Murphy's 5-1. That might be my bet because that's the popular spot right now for him. And then later Latu's plus 250. 9th overall, the favorites, Byron Murphy at plus 170. Rome Odunze's plus 410. So that Rome Odunze was the favorite originally. Now he's over 4-1. Olu Fashanu is plus 430. I think Dallas Turner 13-1 is pretty good. And then the number 10 overall pick, Brock Bowers, is a plus 210 favorite. Rome is plus 750. Talise Fuaga's 10-1. Joe Alt won't drop. He's 12-1. So the Fuaga, Fashanu, and Latham are each 10-1 there. So that's pretty good. How about to be a top 10 pick? Who has some value at plus money? I would say Fuaga plus 550, Fashanu plus 340. I'd play one of those two linemen. Oh, player draft position. First offensive lineman, Joe Alt's a big favorite. He's minus 550. First DL edge, Dallas Turner's the favorite plus 115. I would take a shot at Jared Verse at 48-1. That is crazy. Leata Latu's plus 230. So that's interesting. First wide receiver, MHJ's minus 2,400. Malik is 9-1. First running back, Jonathan Brooks, minus 120. Blake Corum is 5-1. They're talking about the Chargers taking him in the second round. Why not? First corner, Quinyon Mitchell's a minus 145 favorite. I would take Terrion Arnold plus 115. That would be my pick. First safety, Tyler Newman plus 165. That feels right. First linebacker, Junior Colson's plus 125 has his Edgerrin Cooper. Peyton Wilson's plus 470. Second tight end draft, it's fun because we know who's going first. Benson Ott's plus 175. Jatavion Sanders plus 250 as his Theo Johnson. Second wide receiver, Malik Neighbors minus 430. Rome is plus 270. Second lineman drafted, J.C. Latham's 2-1. Fashanu plus 350 as his Fuaga. Player over under draft position, Donnie Mitchell's 27.5. Does he under have value at plus 130? No. Marius Mims, 21.5. That sounds about right. I would take a chance with the over at plus 130. You never know. 81.5 for Blake Corum under. Bo Nix, 32.5. I'd go under plus 112. So that's betting on him to go in the first round. BTJ is 21.5. Overs minus 122. Unders minus 8. I think that I like the under. I've seen him mocked as high as 8 to the Falcons, which is absurd. Brock Bowers is 11.5. The Jets pick at 10. I would take the under at plus money. Maybe somebody jumps the Jets at 9 and takes them, like, who knows, Indy? Byron Murphy, 14.5. Overs plus 210. Unders minus 300. You take that over thinking that Atlanta might take him at 8 or the Bears might take him at 9. That's fun. Chop Robinson, 25.5. Overs plus 112. Unders minus 140. I love the over because I think he goes to Tampa at 26. Cooper DeJuan is 23.5. Minus 14 each way. Graham Barton, 20.5. Overs plus 102. Unders minus 136. I absolutely love the over at plus money. Jared versus 19.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 130. Pass. J.C. Latham over 10.5. Oh my God. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 104. I think that's too high. That over's going to get pushed up. Jerzon Newton's 29.5. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 140. That's a hard pass. J.J. McCarthy, over under 5.5. Overs plus 134. Unders minus 180. Pass. That's going to be an under. Clay McKinstry, 28.5. Overs plus 104. Unders minus 138. Under, probably. Ladd McConkey, 34.5. Overs plus 20. Unders minus 144. That's pretty much betting on him not to go in the first round. Latu Latu, 16.5. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 140. I like the under there. Penix, this is pretty much, you're betting on him going in the first round or the second round. Overs plus 280, unders minus 420. Nate Wiggins is 29.5. I love the under on Nate Wiggins. That's a good one. Fashanu's 13.5. Oh, I like the under plus 120 because the over's juice because everyone thinks he's going to the Saints at 14. Quinyon Mitchell's 15.5. Overs minus weight, unders minus 122. I absolutely love the over on Quinyon Mitchell. That's a good one. Rome Odunze 8.5, overs plus 124, unders minus 166. I love that over at plus money. Maybe the Bears get him at 9. That's what you're betting on there. Talise Fuaga's 13.5, overs plus 122, unders minus 162. If you're taking the over, you're thinking the Saints are going to take him. If you go under, that means he's going to get picked before the Saints. Terrion Arnold's 15.5, overs minus 122, unders minus 108 on pass. Fatanu's 15.5. That's weight. That's a high number. I think I would make it like more like 16.5, 17.5, betting on Seattle. Xavier Legette, 33.5, overs minus 148, unders minus 1 or plus 112. I think Legette goes second round. Xavier Worthy's 28.5, overs plus 118, unders minus 158. I like the over at plus money. This is my absolute favorite. Position of teams, first player drafted. Atlanta's off the board for some reason. Arizona's off the board. Bears second should be on the board. Neither New York team's on there. Maybe DraftKings has it. Maybe I'll look at DraftKings. But I'm going to look at FanDuel and I'll compare to DraftKings. So Ravens, offensive line's minus 190. Is there anything with value? I think D-line edge plus 550 has value. Bills, wide receivers minus 320. D-line edge plus 550. That also has some value. Panthers, wide receivers the favorite, minus 135. O-line is plus 210. D-line's plus 550. He'll probably go wide receiver first. Bengals, offensive line's even money. Wide receivers plus 850. That has some value. I mean, I've seen Brian Thomas mock to them a couple times, so I could see that. Cleveland Browns. D-line edge is the favorite, plus 170. O-line's plus 320. Wideout plus 350. Corner plus 650. That's a hard one. Dallas O-line's minus 250. Linebacker 6'1", D-line edge plus 650. That would feel very Jerry Jonesy to go against the grind and take an edge rusher or a D-lineman. That'd be hysterical. Denver, D-line edge plus 180. Quarterbacks plus 190. Corners plus 370. O-line 7-1. I take quarterback plus 90. Lions, corners the favorite, plus 145. D-line edge plus 250. So is O-line, wideout 6-1. I go corner. Green Bay, O-line's minus 180. That's crazy. Corners plus 260. D-line edge plus 750. I think D-line edge has some value, plus 750 for Green Bay. Houston, D-line edge plus 175. O-line plus 250. Corner 3-1. Safety plus 650. Linebacker 10-1. So I think safety has some value with the Texans at plus 650. Indy, wide receiver plus 170. Corners plus or 2-1. Tight ends plus 230. So maybe they're thinking that could be a Bowers trade destination. Jaguars, corner minus 170. Wideout plus 380. O-line plus 470. D-line edge plus 650. Wide receiver plus 380. That's a good number. All right, this was one of my favorite ones. So O-line and wide receiver for the Chiefs reach even money. Corner is $7.50. I'll take cornerback for the Chiefs at plus $7.50. I think it was $8.50 earlier in the day, so it went down $1. Raiders O-line plus 115. Corner plus 190. Quarterback plus 380. I'd go quarterback plus 380. D-line edge $9.50. Rams O-line plus 105. D-line edge plus 180. Wide out plus $7.50. D-line edge makes sense. So does an O-lineman. But I saw one with value the other day. Corner. Corner's up to 14-1. I took it at 13-1 the other day. Miami O-line's minus 180. D-line edge plus 210. D-line edge has some value. Vikings quarterback is minus 320. There should be one for Vikings second pick because we know they're taking a quarterback. Saints minus 400, D-line edge 850, wide out 12-1, corner 14-1, quarterback 16-1. Why would they take a QB? I don't know. I think D-line edge has some value plus 850 for the Saints. Philly, O-line minus 115. I can't believe O-line has a minus. Cornerback just went from plus 170 to plus 145. Somebody must just bet it. D-line edge plus 430. Steelers, O-line minus 390, wide out 6-1, corner plus 750. D-line edge 15-1. Looks like they're taking a lineman, although cornerback's fun at plus 750. San Francisco, O-line minus 110, wide out plus 340, corner plus 430, D-line plus 430. I think D-line and corner are both good bets at plus 430 for San Francisco. Seattle, O-line minus 155, D-line edge plus 340, corner plus 430. D-line edge at plus 340 is fun for Seattle. Tampa, D-line edge plus 185, O-line plus 210, corner plus 250. Wide out 6-1 has some value for the Bucs. Ooh, total number of drafted players in round 1. Corner 5.5, overs plus 350, unders minus 550. Arnold, Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid. Yeah, that feels undery to me. I just listed... Oh, did I say DeJuan? Arnold, Mitchell, DeJuan, Kool-Aid. Yeah. So, that's 4. Yeah, that's not going over. Lineman, 9.5. You have Joe Alt, you have Talise, you have Olu, you have JC, you have Mims, Fashanu, Graham Barton, JPJ, you have the guy from Oklahoma, and Tyler Guyton. And maybe Zach Frazier sneaks in there. So the over's minus 120. I actually like the under at plus money for linemen. Quarterback's numbers 4.5. Overs minus 440. Unders plus 290. I'd pass because I think there's going to be... I think that should be a 5.5, and I'd still take the plus to bank on like Bo Nix sneaking in there. Wide receiver 6.5. Overs plus 240. Unders minus 350. Oh, I love the over. Oh my God, do I love the over. So you have the big 3 in Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. You have BTJ. Maybe a Donnie Mitchell. And then maybe like somebody like Xavier Worthy. Maybe Keon Coleman. Maybe Lyle McConkey. There could be 7. I like that. I might bet that over for the wide receiver. And then defensive lineman edge is 6.5. Overs plus 168. Unders minus 230. You have Dallas Turner. You have Leonardo Lotto, Jared Verse, Johnny Newton, Byron Murphy. Maybe Chop Robinson. So you're right there at 6. So I pass. Team to draft Bo Nix. The Broncos are favored. Plus 175. Raiders 5-1. Vikings 6-1. Rams 8-1. Giants 9-1. I think the Giants at 9-1 has some value. Maybe they trade back into the first round and get him if he's still there. And then Denver just passes on him. JJ McCarthy, the favorites plus 170. It's the Vikings. The Pats are 3-1. The Giants are plus 470. The Broncos are plus 650. The Raiders are 11-1. Commanders 13. Why are the Commanders there? I don't know. Raiders have value at 11-1. I don't remember what number I got Broncos JJ. So I'm going to look that up really quickly to see 9-1. I did 9-1. It's now plus 650. So it went down to 50 since I bet it. Penix. The favorites, the Raiders, are plus 180. Vikings are 6-1. Denver's plus 650. Giants are 8. Seahawks are 9. Saints 13. The Vikings have some value at 6. In case the Pats take McCarthy, maybe the Giants take May. Maybe the Vikings, maybe the Raiders and the Broncos pass. Vikings 6-1. I kind of like that. Spencer Rattler. The Raiders plus 460. Rams plus 480. Broncos plus 550. Vikings plus 850. Seahawks 10-1. Giants 13. I like the Seahawks at 10. I could see that. Mr. Irrelevant. Let's be honest. Who cares? But let me go to DraftKings really quickly because they have some good ones as well in terms of draft specials. So there's a couple teams I missed in there. So the Jets. Offensive lineman is minus 115. Receiver 2-1. Tight end 2-1. Corner 25-1. I think wideout and tight end both have value at 2-1 for the Jets. We did the AFC North already in terms of position pick. I'm just looking at DraftKings to see what their odds were. Chargers. This is interesting. Lineman minus 175. Wideout 2-1. Corner 6-1. Quarterback 8-1. I don't know why that's that short. D-line edge plus 950. And tight end 14-1. Brock Bowers. Hello. Tight end Chargers has some value on DraftKings at 14-1. Now I'm shopping a little bit. NFC East, the Giants is who I wanted to go over. Wow. Wide receiver minus 225. The quarterback plus 175. O-line plus 950. O-line has some value at plus 950 if they trade down, which I don't see happening, but you never know. It's the draft. And quarterback plus money, I think, has some value too. There's none with the Cowboys. Or, I'm sorry, the Commanders. Because we know it's going to be a quarterback. Same with the Bears. So the Falcons. D-line edge minus 230. Corner plus 205. Wideout 8-1. O-line 13-1. I do think it's going to be D-line edge. Although corner over 2-1, not bad either. And Arizona is the other one we didn't see. Oh, wait a minute. We know that's going to be wide receiver. So, that's why that doesn't have a market. So, just wanted to touch on some draft stuff that DraftKings has and FanDuel doesn't. And then the other thing that DraftKings has and FanDuel doesn't is the conferences. There it is, college props. Big Ten players selected in the first round. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 160. Unders plus 130. So, I guess this reverts to last year. So, Pac-12 is a thing. So, Big Ten players selected in round 1. So, if you ain't over 5, then that's a no bet. MHJ, Fasciano, Cooper DeJuan, JJ. Um, Jerzon. And then Chop. So the Jerzon Chop thing is going to decide if that 5.5 goes over or not, but I think it does. Big 12's 3.5. Overs minus 130. Unders even money. I can't believe that it's only 3.5 for the Big 12. Is there a way that goes under? I'm going to check right now. So, Effie Murphy and Mitchell. Guyton. And maybe Worthy goes in round 1. Maybe Zach Frazier goes in round 1. But the under for Big 12 is interesting at even money. Pac-12, let's see if we can get the over 7.5 at plus 160. And the under 7.5 minus 100 for Pac-12. So, obviously, Caleb. You have Rome, Penix, Fatano. You also have JPJ potentially. Potentially Bo Nix. So yeah, that looks like that's going under. And the SEC is 9.5. The under is a staggering plus 180. The over is minus 220. So 9.5. That number is usually higher for the SEC. I remember I had a bad beat one year, and the 32nd pick was somebody in the SEC, and I lost it because I had the under and it went over because the team picking 32 was probably the Chiefs. Took some SEC player. So SEC players. You have Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, Terrion Arnold, Dallas Turner, J.C. Latham. Oh, I forgot about Latu when we were going over Pac-12. Sorry, Latu. Mims, Kool-Aid, BTJ. So that's 9 surefire first rounders in that conference. And maybe Ladd is the... So, yeah, I like under SEC, under 9.5 SEC players at plus 180 and the under for the Big 12 at even money. And here's more will be drafted by teams. Blake Corum, the Chargers are the favorite, plus 190. The Giants are plus 330. Cowboys plus 750. Vikes plus 850. I do think that's a Chargers possibility. So, plus 190, I don't think has a lot of value. We did Bo Nix already. Brock Bowers. There could be teams with some value there. Tennessee at 12-1. Rams 14-1. Jets and the Colts are the favorites. Jets 2-1, Colts 3-1. Bears at 10-1 is interesting. So are the Broncos at 10. The Chargers at 10 is interesting. Why is the Chargers 10-1 to be Brock Bowers, but the Chargers are 14-1 to take a 10 out on Vandal? That's the better bet. And then the Caleb Williams we don't have to do. Xavier Worthy. Dolphins are 5-1. Rams plus 650. Colts 7-1. Chiefs plus 750. Buffalo 8-1. Niners 10-1. Maybe there's some value on somebody to take him. I mean, the Jaguars at 22-1. And with a later pick, or the Bengals at 25-1. Somebody with a later pick I think has some value to take Xavier Worthy. So that's a fun one. Total number of draft day trades, over under 6.5, overs plus 130, unders minus 160. I think the over's a no-brainer at plus 130. All right, draft specials. Vegas to draft either Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix Jr. is plus 125. 11 plus O linemen selected in the first round is plus 150. First 4 picks to all be quarterbacks is plus 150 on DraftKings. 6 plus quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round is plus 180. I like that one. Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, each to draft all line in the first round is 2-1. I like that. Xavier Worthy to the Bills or Chiefs is plus 260. Rattlers, second round, plus 265. I don't like that. Either a 1+ running back or safety drafted in the first round is plus 330. Jets and Giants both drafted wide receiver in the first round. 5-1. Ooh, this is a good one. The Cardinals to draft both MHJ and Khalid McKinstry plus 650. Wow. First 7 draft picks to be exactly quarterback, receiver, O-line, wide receiver is plus 650. I don't like that. Here's a good one. Detroit and Green Bay each to draft a corner in the first round is 7-1. Chiefs draft a tight end in the second round is 8-1. Either MHJ or Joel drafted in the top 3 is 9-1. Nope. Either BTJ or Xavier Worthy to be a third round pick. Nope. Oh, no. Third receiver drafted. Nope. A-plus receivers to be drafted in the first round is 9-1. I don't like that. These specials are really good. I might dangle on some of these. Cardinals draft both MHJ and Jerzon Newton is 10-1. Dolphins to draft Xavier Worthy. Chiefs to draft Jalen Polks 10-1. No. 4+ running backs to be drafted in round 2 is 12-1. I kind of like that. Vikings to draft both JJ McCarthy and Cooper DeJuan is 14-1. Fashanu and Bo Nix to the Vikings 22-1. Nope. Ooh. But yeah, there's some absurd specials in there, but I'm not going to touch them. First non-quarterback selected, MHJ's 7-1 minus 700 favorite. So that's not worth touching. Okay. Bold predictions. Go team by team and predict something bold for them in the draft. The Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to say they don't pick at 4. Somebody's going to draft the quarterback there. I don't know who it's going to be. And they're going to move down and come back up and take MHJ at 5 or at 6 or wherever. The Atlanta Falcons. I know there's a lot of talk about them drafting another wide receiver, which would be absurd. And I think they will draft a receiver on day 2. And the player that I could totally see them drafting just for, just to add to their offense. I'm going to say the guy they take in one of these later rounds will be Malik Washington of Virginia, maybe on day 2. The Baltimore Ravens. My bold prediction for the Ravens is that they'll take a day 3 pass rusher. So I'm going to say that player will be Washington's Braylon Trice. Next, the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to say on day 2, they will draft a interior defender, and I'm going to say that will be Michigan's Chris Jenkins. The Carolina Panthers will draft a wide receiver on day 2, and that just totally, and I mean totally screams South Carolina's Xavier Legette. So Chicago Bears. I'm gonna say they trade up for Rome Odunze on tomorrow night. Just makes a lot of sense. They're gonna jump Tennessee, or jump the Tennessee spot to get ahead of Atlanta, who's rumored for a wide receiver, which would be stupid. And then whoever else kind of wants to try to move up to past the Bears, like maybe the Jets or the Colts or somebody like that. So I'm going to say they move up and take Odunze at 7. Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to predict that they draft an edge rusher on day 2, and that player will be Utah's Jonah Ellis. Browns. I think that they will get an offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman, on day 3, and that player will be Michigan's Zach Zinter. The Dallas Cowboys. I think they will address other needs in the draft. I think they take a wide receiver, I'm going to say, on day 3. And that player, I think, will be USC's Brendan Rice. Denver Broncos will trade back from 12, maybe to 22 to Philadelphia spot, and they'll draft Bo Nix tomorrow night. For the Detroit Lions, I'm going to say will take an edge rusher on day 2. And I'm going to say that will be Clemson's Xavier Thomas. The Green Bay Packers, I think, why do I feel like they're going to end up taking Kool-Aid McKinstry at 25? Like, they always take the cool names. So I'm going to say they take Kool-Aid McKinstry at 25, even though I want to bet the MHJ Kool-Aid combo to go to Arizona at 7-1. I might bet that, but predict that he goes to Green Bay, if that makes sense. The Houston Texans. I'm going to say they look at interior defenders on day 2. And they will draft Florida State's Braden Fisk. The Indianapolis Colts will try to trade up for one of those receivers and won't get it. So instead, they'll look day 2. And they'll pick Washington's Jalen Polk. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going to say they also take a wide receiver on day 2. And I'm going to say it's Malachi Corley of Western Kentucky. The Kansas City Chiefs will pass on wide receiver in round 1, instead go with a corner, because they need to replace Snead. And I think that bet will come through. I think Nady Wiggins could still be sitting there for them. So I'm going to say they take him. Or they trade up and take him. Either they take him at 32 or they trade up and get him. I could see that being a trade up ahead of the Lions and ahead of Arizona or whomever. The Raiders of Las Vegas. I'm going to predict that they take Penix at 13. If not, trade up to 10 and get him. I think we might see some quarterbacks taken in weird spots. Or I'm sorry, 11. Like, I could see... I might bet... but you can't bet on Penix being the 11th pick unless if it's, like, there. Like, in live time. But I'm going to say the Raiders move up 2 spots and take Penix ahead of Denver. Next up, the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, this was a fun one. And they're a team that all eyes are on them. I think they have a lot of car keys to the draft. They're definitely trading out of 5. I predicted Arizona gets MHJ at 5. I think that The last of the big four quarterbacks will go 4. Although I do have JJ at 5 as a bet. I'm going to say they end up at maybe 6. And they take Joel ahead of Tennessee. And that is Tennessee scrambling. Rams. I think they picked... I was going to say Spencer Rattler. But that just is a fun Rams team. Or a fun team for Rattler to go to. But I'm going to say they pick on day 4, Florida State's Jordan Travis. The Miami Dolphins, obviously littered with holes on their roster. After trades and such. So I'm going to say on day number 2, they draft Georgia's Kamari Lassiter to fix up their secondary a little bit. Next is the Minnesota Vikings. I think that there's a chance they're left out of quarterback roulette. Let's just say it goes Caleb and Jaden 1 and 2. What if somebody jumps to 3 and takes Drake May, or the Patriots take JJ at 3? Maybe somebody does come up to 3 and get May. Somebody gets JJ at 4. Maybe the Giants get May at 3. McCarthy goes 4 to Minnie. And then Denver and the Raiders take Bo Nix and Penix. So there's 7 teams, and I think somebody's going to be left out of quarterback roulette. I just don't know who it's going to be. And you can make a case the team that should sit out of quarterback roulette is New England. And I'm the one that's been screaming, you better take Drake May. You better take Drake May to New England. But Fox's Chris Felica had a case that New England should be the team that should sit and tank because they're not a quarterback away from contending, let alone being a winning team. They're a whole offense away. So, and I respect Chris. I think he's very smart and very honest and genuine, and he cares. And I think that he has a point there. So it's going to be interesting to see who's left out of QB roulette. And I do have Nix and Penix going to Denver and Vegas, respectively. So, wouldn't it be very Vikings of them to lose out on quarterback roulette? That's just the tortured team, the Vikings. So, I think there's going to be a lot of shuffling around and whatnot. And I'm going to say that Minnesota takes a chance and potentially reaches for Spencer Rattler. Although I did bet the Rams to take him, or I might bet the Rams to take him. But I think Minnesota on day 2, early day 2, could potentially pick Spencer Rattler. So I'm going to say that that's the team that gets left out of the Big Six. The New England Patriots. So, is They're truly smoke around J.J. McCarthy being the guy for them. When there's smoke, there's fire. J.J. McCarthy's only 3-1 to be the number 3 pick. Let's have some fun. I'm going to say they trade out of 3. And then they trade back up. They're going to do what I think them and Arizona will both trade back and then trade back up. And there's going to be a lot of roulette among picks 3 through 6. And I'm going to say the Patriots at 4 will get some assets for 3. And then package some of those and some other stuff to move up to 4 to take JJ. The New Orleans Saints. My prediction for them is that they will also draft a wide receiver, but I'm going to say on day 4. And I'm going to say that's USC's Taj Washington. Next up, the New York Football Giants. When there's smoke, there's fire. My heart's going to be racing, as you guys know, if this prediction comes true or not. I think the New York Football Giants move up from 6 to 3. They overpay. New England says, sure. And the Giants take Drake May with the 3rd pick in the draft ahead of New England and gets the better of the offers with them and with the Vikings being a competitor. So I think it'll be Caleb 1, Daniels 2, Giants take Drake May at 3, Patriots take McCarthy at 4, Cardinals move back up to 5 and take MHJ, Chargers Chargers find their way at 6 to take Joe Alt. So maybe there's like so I'm going to say 3 teams in a row trade back just to move up to the spot that they were 1 behind of. I know that's crazy. Or maybe Cards end up at 6 and the Chargers take Joe Alt at 5. But yeah, I'm going to say the Chargers. So who would be 5 if... So the Patriots would have 6. And then they move up from 6 to 4 to take... Yeah, and then the Cardinals would have 6, and then they would move up to 5 to take Mabers. And so the Chargers and the Cardinals pretty much switch spots from 5 to 6. That's how that works. So the Giants go from 6 to 3. And then the Cards are on the clock. They trade. The New England goes from 6 to 3, and Arizona gets 6. Chargers are on the clock at 5. The 2 teams switch spots. Cards take Harrison. Chargers take Joe Alt. So they don't trade up for Joe Alt. They just move back 1 spot and take Joe Alt in this scenario. So, yeah. Crazy, crazy, crazy scenario. Jets. I'm going to predict that they take the sexy pick at 10 with Brock. And on day 2, they'll address their offensive line from a long-term standpoint. And they'll take BYU's Kingsley Slamadia in the 2nd round or the 3rd round. Maybe the 2nd round because he's better than a 3rd round. I think he's more like a day 2, round 2 kind of guy. Next, the Philadelphia Eagles. I already predicted that they're going to trade up to 12. I think they make a big leap and overpay big time to jump the Raiders. And they take Alabama's Terrion Arnold. Not that they would take Arnold at 13. Maybe they think that, and they're telling people that. But then really, they're going to take Penix. Oh, no, wait a minute. I have the Raiders taking Penix. Never mind. And then, who would be at 13 then if the Raiders moved up 2 spots? That would be... Minnesota. Then they jump Minnesota to take the corner, and then Minnesota at 13 would take maybe Dallas Turner or Latu out of UCLA. So yeah, I think the Eagles move up to 12. Maybe it won't be for Terron Arnold. Maybe it'll be for the lineman. You know what? I'm going to change my prediction on this, but I think they trade out for Fashanu. That makes more sense. Because maybe they think the Raiders like him, and the Saints is the other one. They're trying to jump the Saints for Fashanu, and then the Saints are going to be scrambling. So, let's say 7 through 12 is maybe... All right, so Malik Neighbors, 7, Tennessee. 8 would be the Falcons. Let's say they take one of those edge guys. Or Byron Murphy. Maybe they reach for Byron Murphy. Maybe they take Verse. Maybe they take Lotto or Dallas Turner. Let's say Lotto goes 8. Or no, wait. So in my draft scenario I had playing out, I have the Bears moving up to take Odunze. Maybe the Bears... All right, let's move the Bears up to 8 for Odunze. And then Neighbors goes 7. Bears move up to 8 and take the receiver. And they just move up one spot to make sure the Jets don't take them. And then 9 would be Atlanta. Let's say they get something else and they take Latu. And then Brock Bowers gets to the Jets at 10. Penix 11 to the Raiders. 12 would be Philadelphia. And then they take Fashanu ahead of New Orleans. So let's do that for Philadelphia. Pittsburgh, I'm going to say they fill some needs, and I think a need that they'll address on day 2 will be corner. And I'm going to say the guy they draft is Iowa State's TJ Tampa. Let's say he's a Pittsburgh Steeler on day 2. The San Francisco 49ers. They're interesting. I'm going to say they take an edge rusher on day 3. And I'm going to say that player will be UCLA's Grayson Murphy. Gabriel Murphy, my bad. Seattle Seahawks. I might bet on them to draft Rattler. But I think they take a quarterback on day 3. To kind of just, chill. I'm going to say they take Tennessee's Joe Milton III. To test out long-term options. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to say they draft a wide receiver on day 2. I'm going to say they go with Florida's Ricky Pearsall. Tennessee Titans. I already predicted they're going to end up with Neighbors. But they do have other needs. Obviously, offensive line. And I'm going to say they end up drafting Jordan Morgan. Maybe they move back in the round 1 and get him. Or maybe they move up early round 2 and get him. But I'm going to say Jordan Morgan will be their round 2 pick. Tennessee. And last but not least, the Washington Commanders. They need to address edge rush, obviously. And I'm going to say that's a day 2 thing for them. And the player that I think they're going to draft on day 2 will be Alabama's Chris Braswell. All right, so there you have it for the Draft Podcast 2024 edition. And I'm going to look back on this, hopefully, after the draft at some point and see how wrong I am or how right I am. So might as well give the 2023 draft show a listen right now. And I'm going to reveal which things I bet on tomorrow's show of the random ones that I gave out. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys.